privileged to be here.
Privileged is the word, my friend.
Privileged to be here with UFC veteran and British badass.
UFC veteran,
British
coolest
badass.
guy of the year 2008, international fighter of the year. I could go on, but it's embarrassing.
You should go on.
Yeah, but I don't like to. I'm just man of the people is the moniker that I prefer.
Okay, we'll call you man of the people. I'm
How you
here with
do-
man of the people, Michael the Count Bisping. We're here in a secret location in London.
Secret location, top secret.
Yeah, been privileged enough to have a sit down, so we're gonna, hopefully talk about a few topics and
Fire away.
have a catch up.
Yes, sir.
There was a little fight announcement a day or so ago. You've got a little engagement on the 24th of February, I believe, next year.
Well, you should do your research, my friend. It is the 27th of February, live at the O2 Arena. Tickets go on sale Friday. Buy them early. You will not be disappointed because it is going to sell out. Myself versus Gegard Mousasi, the Dreamcatcher, they call him, but I'm going to make sure he has a nightmare. But myself, Gegard Mousasi, and there's two other fights which are going to be big fights that are going to be announced here from the UFC. So a stellar fight card on the way. As I said, tickets go on sale Friday. But for me, more importantly, I'm very excited to fight back in London. My last fight was 2010 at the O2 Arena. A wonderful night. The UK people, the English people have always supported me fantastically, and without them I wouldn't have had the career that I had. So for me, coming back, yes, my last fight was Glasgow, which is great, don't get me wrong. Scotland is in the UK, but it isn't England, it isn't quite England, it's not London, and I'm very excited.
Did it kind of help you get over the disappointment of not being able to compete in Australia?
Yeah, well, in a perfect world, what I wanted to do was beat Robert Whittaker. I'd have got through that fight unscathed. We all know this. Robert Whittaker knows this. There wouldn't have been any injuries. And then fight here as well. That was my plan. That was my vision. Unfortunately, my elbow did need surgery. It's been kind of bothering me for a while, but it was getting worse and worse. Had to be taken care of. So the Whittaker fight was, I never like to pull out of a fight, but I'm here. I'm in London right now, doing some other things, but excited to be back here in February.
Kind of briefly before we get into your upcoming fight, take us through some of the things you're doing while you're actually in the UK, because we know you're based in the United States.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I do live out in the States, but still English through and through. But I'm out here with Fighters Inc. A friend of mine, Joe Long, he's one of the owners of Fighters Inc. And they do many good things involved in the combat sports industry. They promote Senai, which is the biggest mixed martial arts convention. Sorry, the biggest martial arts convention in the world, amongst many other things. And I'm out here doing a couple of corporate seminars. Any excuse to come back to England, but of course it's always nice to come back and, demonstrate some of my trade, and connect with some of the good people of England and show them a few moves and whatnot. So I'm out here, a couple of seminars, and then speak to you, a couple of other people, and then back home.
So kind of take us through some of the stuff you do at these corporate seminars. Corporate kind of suggests a slightly away from the norm of the...
Yeah, well, no, that's right. That's right. I mean, a typical seminar, if you go to a fight gym or a martial arts gym, you will typically get, yes, you'll get beginners, but you'll also get, hardcore fanatics. You'll possibly get professional fighters. You'll possibly get hobbyists, martial artists, lifelong martial artists. You may get beginners. You get all levels. The corporate seminars, is a little different. These are people that maybe, perhaps without sounding arrogant, maybe watch you on TV, they know what you do. It's a day out for them. I introduce them. I give them an introduction to mixed martial arts. I take them through a few things. We have fun, we have a good day, and that's about it. I give them an introduction to mixed martial arts, and we have a good time.
Brilliant. Okay, so let's kind of move on to your upcoming fight. You have a reputation for fighting the best of the best, and it seems to be no exception. With your upcoming opponent, Gegard Mousasi. You seem to always fight the higher echelon of fighters.
Yeah. Which is a pain in the ass.
Yes, it is a pain in the ass. You know, you win some and you lose some.
Sure.
You know, given your time out, how do you feel? What stands out for you with
Gegard?
Yeah, with Gegard. What stands out?
Skill set wise, I mean, the thing with Gegard, I mean, let's be honest, this guy is an incredible fighter. He really is. He's an incredible fighter. If you look at his record, he's fought a who's who. I mean, my son is an encyclopedia of mixed martial arts knowledge. He really is. Callum, he's the guy that I go to for a lot of my information when I'm working on Fox. He really is. He has a photographic memory. And I was sat with him the other day, and we were looking at his record. You know, I could be wrong, but I think he's 29. He's certainly younger than me anyway, so he's a little younger than me. But he's so experienced. I think he's, you know, I don't know, 34 and 6, something like that. He's fought a who's who of mixed martial arts. He's fought everybody. He's been around a long time, predominantly, for the most part, he's been very, very successful. Prior to being with the UFC, he had only a couple of losses on there. One of them was a disqualification against Jack O'Ray. So this is a guy, skill set wise, stand up. I think he fought in K1. He was competitive there. He's got great striking, good wrestling, excellent jiu-jitsu, many submissions on his record. He's also very good at sweeping people from underneath. He's a dangerous opponent. He's good everywhere. And on top of that, he's always in shape. You never see him gas. And he's very composed. His composure, I think, is what makes him so dangerous. You know, he's very relaxed in there. He's never fighting on emotion. To be honest, you never see any emotion, you know. You could argue that he is a boring bastard. I'm just saying one could argue that. I'm not saying I argue that. But you could say he's one of those. He's very, you know, he's there. Yeah. He's monotone in his fighting and everything he does. He's a fantastic fighter. I've got a lot of respect. It's a very tough fight.
Yeah. I would say that similarly, skill set wise, you have a lot of similar strengths. I'm not saying, for example, that his striking is any better than yours, but you know, when people speak about Michael Bisping, they talk about cardio, striking, you know, good on the ground, you have to mix wrestling, you know, change levels, and you wrestle warriors and takedown. You mentioned his ability to sweep off his back.
Yeah.
Is that an area that potentially worries you?
Well, it's certainly something that I've noticed. You know, I haven't fully started studying him yet because the fight's still over 12 weeks away. So, you know, it's a little early for that. I found in my experience, if you start analysing too much, too far out, you start over-preparing and over-training too early, you know. So there's no need yet. There's no need for me to go into full-on hardcore studying mode. But I have looked at him, of course. And I did notice that a lot of the time he gets taken down, but he's very good at sweeping people, ending up on top, and finding a submission. So, of course, it's always a concern, you know. But he's well-rounded. I'm very well-rounded. We do have a similar skill sets. He's had many more submission victories than I have. But I wouldn't say that he necessarily has an advantage there. But that said, it's a tough fight, I know it is, but I believe I can win this fight. Of course I do. I'm a professional fighter. I believe I can win all my fights. But it's one that I'm going to have to certainly prepare for accordingly.
Yeah, I think your ground game, I'm not sure if underrated is the right term to use. I just think we don't see it as much because of your ability to, you know, take down defense. And
it pisses me off. It does, because I work very hard at my jiu-jitsu. I've done it for a long, long time. And my last fight against Robert Whittaker, my actual game plan for that fight, I was, right, I'm going to get my first submission in the UFC. My game plan, because Robert Whittaker was a guy that was much smaller than me. He's a small middleweight. He came up from welter. And I was like, right, I'm gonna bully this guy. I'm gonna use my size and my strength and my grappling skills, of course, but I'm gonna take him down and I'll look to submit him. That was my entire game plan. You know, so the reason I had that game plan is because I was confident in my grappling ability. So with Gegard, yeah, you know, I mean, this is gonna be a fight that I don't want to be predictable. I've got to take him everywhere. I'm going to take him down. I'm going to keep it on the feet. I'm going to do everything. It is mixed martial arts. I think if I get too predictable on the feet, I'll end up on my back. I could get taken down. So I'm going to put it on him. I'm going to have him worrying about the takedown, him worrying about the submissions, and also worrying about getting punched in the face as well.
you've been ever present in the top 10 of the UFC middleweight division for a long, long time. In fact, your career in the UFC spans a lot longer than some mixed martial arts careers, period.
Yeah.
What's your secret to kind of staying at the top?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I am very proud of the career that I've had. I've had a very long career. I've been in the UFC almost 10 years now, and that's incredible. It's almost an accomplishment to get to the UFC. It's a completely different thing to stay there for 10 years, let alone fighting the best guys in the division. So yeah, I am proud of that. What is my secret? I mean, I don't know. You've got to stay hungry. You've got to stay hungry, but I don't think that is the secret. I think everybody's hungry. Everybody wants to succeed, But I'm as hungry now as the first day that I signed with the UFC. I really am. I've never been the champion. Of course, that's still a desire that I have that burns deep within me. I have 3 children and a family. I like to look after them, and this is the best way that I can do that. So that's obviously a driving factor. But I'm a fighter. I've always been a fighter, and when I was a kid, and I'm talking young on the playground, I was getting into fights. I've always done that, and it's been detrimental to my life. I've always prided myself on my fighting ability, and when I was at school, or the older kids, if they thought they could beat me in a fight, then I was down for that. You know what I mean? So maybe that's a personality flaw, because I'm not an aggressive person, I'm not a violent person, but I've always enjoyed that challenge. And certainly that's been a factor, I would say, in the amount of time that I've been around.
Yeah,